let me tell you about the plan to retire the U.S. dollar. In my research, this is my belief of how things are going to work out in the next couple of years. I've passed this by several people, and they believe it's solid, but I want you to know up front, this is what I believe is going to happen, and it is all tied to things that I know are already being put into place. Right now, there is a race going on for digital currency. It's a three-horse race, and Bitcoin is not in it. It's the U.S., China, or the IMF, the World Bank. We are looking for what is going to be the world reserve currency? What is going to replace the U.S. dollar? Russia and others are pushing out digital currency, et cetera, but they're a tiny portion of the global currency power, and they're really not relevant, in my opinion. The U.S. Federal Reserve is behind China on the actual digital currency implementation. China already has the digital renminbi, which I just love. How many renminbis do you have?
I have 11 trillion.
You have 11 trillion. That is good, yeah. So they do all of the intergovernmental transactions via the Bank of China. So in other words, the Communist Party passing money to the Communist Party posing as the bank, and then the Communist Party getting that money back. It is renminbi is the people's money in Mandarin. However, even though they've already pushed this out and they're already using it, the U.S. is way ahead when it comes to potential adoption. 70% of international financial transactions right now are settled in U.S. dollars. This is what gives our dollar any kind of value now, whereas only 1.5% of the global transactions are settled in Chinese money. Several analysts believe that the U.S. will have a digital U.S. dollar issued by the Federal Reserve by 2022. Now, I want you to listen because this is really important to your future. They want to get it out. This, according to several analysts, they want to get it out before the midterm election because the Republicans may retake the House or the Senate or both. The Fed doesn't require technically any kind of congressional approval to issue any new digital currency, but that doesn't mean that Congress wouldn't move to block or slow it just to limit the Fed's authority here. Lately, Yellen and Powell and the head of the FBI have all started warning Congress and the public about the dangers of Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptocurrencies because they can be used by sex traffickers. And they can be used by terrorists. And so the plan is to issue a digital U.S. dollar and then automatically convert U.S. dollars from the old U.S. dollars to digital U.S. dollars, DUSDs. Okay? The banks would issue the DUSD at some ratio that the Fed would set. Now, here's why this is so important for you to be ahead of the curve on. The money in your bank account will suddenly become U.S. or DUSDs overnight. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be dollar for dollar. In fact, the Fed is going to be deciding how much loss everybody takes. The Fed will also offer U.S. dollar cash holders, physical cash, but not in the banks, to cash in old USDs for new DUSDs for some time period, 6 months or a year. And the way they'll do this is require cash holders to deposit the money into U.S. banks so they can control the conversion to DUSD and track all transactions. After the cutout date, the old U.S. dollar will be retired either overnight or via an overtime graduated retirement schedule. The conversion rate is just going to get worse and worse. So they're going to say, hey, you'll get 80% of your dollar if you turn them in now. And then, the next month you'll get 70 cents on the dollar. And so it will push people into pushing their money. The convertibility rate, analysts are now speculating that it won't necessarily be equal. So in other words, not everyone will get 80% or 70%. Part of the plan here is to do social engineering and wealth distribution. They're going to have a progressive, like we have a progressive income tax, this will be a progressive conversion rate. It'll be the same way we do progressive tax structure. Poor people are going to get a 1-to-1 ratio. You might even, if you're one of the afflicted groups, get a 1 to 1.5 ratio, meaning you get 50 cents more for every dollar. And wealthy people could get a 0.5 to 1 conversion rate. So the more you have in U.S. dollars, it may be the less the digital U.S. dollar you'll receive in return. Now, the reason why they're retiring the dollar is because we are spending into oblivion, and they don't have an exit plan other than the death of the dollar. In the near future, they don't need to care about the debt or inflation because they can effectively buy unlimited amounts of old currency with new currency and force the cash holders to take the loss because they can make all other currencies, including cryptocurrencies, illegal whenever they see fit. So by controlling the currency and having the power to declare what currencies are legal and what are not and how much those cash currencies are worth, all cash holders will accept whatever terms they want. This is the end game, I believe, for the U.S. dollar. And I don't think they're going to get, it'll be interesting to hear if anybody in the press picks this up and makes fun of me on it, because won't they be shocked? Oh, there is a caliphate. Oh, 2008 did happen. Yeah, I'm telling you, it is coming. The question is, how much can we get other countries to take a loss on U.S. dollars that they currently hold? The sovereign U.S. dollar holder is probably going to take a 50% haircut, but private party dollar holders will accept maybe a 90% loss on their U.S. dollars, and it will create a race to dump dollars and to put them into other currencies. The way we're going to get global support on this is we will offer foreign debtors, countries that owe the U.S. government money. We'll say, look, I know you bought those tanks and those planes. We'll give you a 50% cut on your debt. You just turn everything into U.S. Digital dollars, and we'll call it a day. That's what's coming. So when you see all of this spending, know that if you aren't aware of what is right around the corner, you are going to lose. It is why I urge you to watch tonight's TV show. Tonight's TV show is so important because we show you the mechanisms in the financial industry that are being laid right now to make things like this happen. I mean, how do you give a 10% haircut, a 50% haircut to all Americans? How do you do that? Well, timing. Timing is important. Stu, did you notice, what were we talking about where he said timing? It was on the
guns.
On the gun bill last week, right? He was saying the timing just isn't right. There was something else that he was talking about yesterday where he was talking about the timing just isn't right. They either have fortune tellers to see what's coming next, but I don't know if they can foresee trouble coming. But yesterday, the World Health Organization got a whole buttload of countries, like 40-some countries, to sign on to a global treaty where they'll all act the same. The Biden administration didn't say that they wouldn't sign that treaty. They said the timing isn't right just yet. Wait, what does that mean exactly? That you will sign a global treaty where the WHO tells us to shut our businesses and we do? What does that mean? Find out more tonight at 9 o'clock on blazetv.com.